Welcome back, NAO Show Week 8. We're all here, even that guy. Yeah. Marky Mark, Mike Deasy, and that guy, Ian.
Right.
Ian, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about
Gentlemen.
yourself.
Thanks, gentlemen. Good to be here. Well, gentlemen and Sean, it's good to be here.
Yep. All right. Thanks for coming on to the show, even though, whatever. All right. Marky Mark, kick us off, big guy.
All right, let's get right into the scores here. So, starting off, I've got the underdogs at 165 over the Silly Biscuits at 100. What a point total there, man. So they got big days from James Robinson, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown. And Josh says, no Miyagi this week, bitches. So, so at 165.10 is a pretty good total there. You might think that was the highest score of the week, but no. The Baba O'Reillys.
Nice segue.
Got that
Great
dubious
segue.
honor. Not a dubious honor. That distinct honor, I should say. Baba O'Reilly's 165.40 to 151.92 over Goofy Jace. So Goofy Jace gets his second loss in a row. The steamroller is running out of steam, it looks like, but I'm not going to brag too much, man. That was a hell of a matchup. All I got to say about that one was a lot of fun going into that last game with I had the Kyler Kirk stack, and he had Russell Wilson, and it was back and forth and an overtime game and a lot of fun. And I was getting comments from some of the other guys, and it was just a whole lot of fun. One interesting thing for Goofy Jace, if he had started the Kansas City Chiefs, he would have gotten me. He went with Philly defense. They got 9 points, which isn't bad, but Chiefs had 24, which would have put him over the top. So he was lamenting that fact. What do you guys think about that one? Anyway, it was fun. Steele, Ian, you gave me a message there, asked me how my heart rate was going. What'd you think about that? Watching it live?
I was a little bit worried about you. Obviously, you are the senior member of the league, so I just want to make sure you're going to make it through this week. And in all fairness, it was more interesting than my matchup. I think I won mine the end of Thursday, so I was paying more attention to yours than mine.
Yeah, I had the old nitroglycerin tablets under the tongue, trying to keep that heart rate down.
I think Sean had cyanide, or he should have done. It made his.
Oh, here we go. Well, we're not to your score yet. Before we get to your score, I'll give the real Slim Brady 110. Defenses win championship 94. So real Slim Brady got a second win, and defenses is reeling just a little bit. He's got a lot of injuries going on the last couple of weeks, and kind of on the downward slide there. Sean, what do you think about that one? Tell us about your buddy Aaron, and what do you think about that matchup?
Well, after last week's win over him, I felt kind of bad that he's like everybody else. Everybody's hitting the injury button right now, and kind of only one other person is benefiting from everybody's misery. So, I mean, how many running backs does this guy need to have that are on the IR? I mean, come on.
Yeah, he lost Drake this time. He had lost Mostert the week before, and
tough.
Chubb's down from. He's really been hit hard at the running back position there.
Yeah, but going in, he had probably the deepest running back group of all of us. So
yeah, he sure did. Because I was trying to trade with him to get my third running back from right after the draft. I was like, yeah, he's got them all. Let me go get one. And he wouldn't trade me anybody. All right. Well, the next score I have is our marquee matchup from last week that didn't turn out as exciting as we had hoped anyway. Two a time. Are you up for the name change? I'm trying to lobby for that.
Yeah, well, it depends how he does this week. If he starts playing really well, I might
be two a time. So I got two a time at 135. Carsonists at 76. Guys, tell us about your matchup there.
Oh, I for one am upset with DK's performance because I was really on line there for doubling his score, and that was my intention. I went in. I wanted to put my foot on his throat and wait to hear the last breath come out. And in the end, my prediction was accurate. He looked like Dak Prescott's right foot. He looked all kinds of mangled.
Too soon. Too soon. First of all,
Jack, who? Which one?
First of all, the thing is, it's not that your team did so amazingly outstanding. It's that my team just underperformed and then shot underneath that. I mean, how many people actually thought that Diggs was only going to get 7 points? I mean, Chris Carson
Against the
got
Jets.
hurt, and he only had 4.5. He hasn't had less than 10 points all season.
I don't know who inspires that team less, Mike McCarthy or Sean.
Ooh.
But,
Still Mike McCarthy.
Still Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, as Dallas fans, we can say it's Mike.
Yeah. It's a
I
good
don't
one.
know.
How good.
I love my team moving forward, obviously. I got a lot of young guys. I mean, lots of young running backs, which are hard to come by right now. So
Yeah,
a bad day does not really affect my overall standing.
That Kansas City game was an abomination too,
Mm-hmm.
Just a weird game for all fantasy managers,
Oh,
so
for sure.
that
Yeah,
didn't help
Can't
you
really
either.
say anything because he was my second best player and he had 12
Yeah.
points. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt bad. I traded you Diggs and Slayton, and they put up a whole lot of nothing for you.
a
Yeah.
whole lot of nothing. Everybody underperformed.
I'm not responsible for it, but I felt
Yeah.
No.
Well, that brings us to our last score. We have the Skippy Dogs 95 and Frank's Beauties 71. Skippy Dogs, man, third win in a row, kind of quietly sneaking his way up in the standings there. And poor Mike. What do you got to say about it, Mike? It was a tough day for you. It was a tough day for you for sure, man.
In terms of the matchup itself, I felt like this is one you can write off. I mean, I was averaging about 140 a week before this.
Yeah.
I'm going to write it off as an anomaly and hope that my defense is not my highest score every week, or ideally ever again.
You had a plus matchup there with Skippy having Lamar and Thielen on bye, and Henry. Henry was kept in check pretty well by Pittsburgh, and as I can say I predicted. I mean, nobody's predicting anybody to do really well against Pittsburgh defense rushing, but so a day he could have been beat. He just had a little bit worse day, which brings us to our next segment of the show, the Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week. Goes to Mike Deasy, our buddy Mike Deasy with Frank's Beauties with 71 points. Your first Miyagi, Mike. It's got to be exciting, huh?
It was pretty exciting. I sit here every week and we give this award out, and I'm a winner. I'm a winner at the end of all of it, and I needed to win this award at least once. And I just want to point out that I won this award with the lowest score of the year so far. Wow. So if you want it, you got to come get it, guys, because it's mine.
What's that, Ian?
If you're going to go and win it, you better as well do it big,
I was actually upset that the Rams scored 15 points when I fell asleep before the game finished. I thought, no way, they scored too many points.
So you set the standard, but it could have been lower if the Rams had have pulled through for you there, huh? Well, yeah, that was a tough one. I hope you bounce back next week, buddy. So you want to run down the standings for us real quick there, Mike?
Well, thankfully, even though I lost pretty terribly, I stayed in the playoffs at fourth. I'm limping my way out of them very quickly, though. And actually, we have 3 of the 4 playoff teams right here, right now, actually. We got Ian, me, and Mark. Goofy's still at number 1, but really just by points 4.
Yeah, we all know. All right, Ian. I know. I'm not there. I got it. I know what you're going to say. Got it. Go ahead. Continue.
But, yeah, bottom of the standings. Actually, I think the underdogs actually went from 9 to 8, so they're crawling up. And scoring 165, who knows what they're going to do the rest of the year. It'll be fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, some of their guys are starting to perform. Gibson's coming along, so yeah, it's looking better for those guys. That was a good point total for sure.
Not to boost the guy I'm playing this week, because I still am going to beat him. All right, but Ryan Tannehill, he's been lights out fantasy wise. Corey Davis, how many touchdowns did he have last week? 2 touchdowns?
Did he? I didn't think it was. I know Brown had a good game, but did Davis have a good game too?
I think he only had one, but he had
One.
another.
One. Okay.
But, I mean, I don't think this is the underdogs of the first half of the season, obviously. This team has definitely come from the gutter, and they're not a bad team anymore.
No, they had all the injuries to start out, and they were trying to plug holes like crazy, and they seem to be they seem to have something solid in their, at least their starting roster. You know.
I was
Yeah.
surprised Mixon didn't pop up on the trade block. Who needs him?
Yeah.
I'm not sure of their depth, but as far as their first team, their starting lineup is solid right now. Yeah, they all seem to be performing pretty well. So
Yeah. Sometimes that's enough to get you through. I mean, that's how Goofy Jace has been too with the, maybe not the deepest team, but his starters have been killing it. So.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't been hit by the injury bug like defense win champions over there.
Yeah, he's been kind of the latest casualty guy. And Josh has been through it too, but Aaron's kind of the joining that list, So we're all feeling that pain, but some worse than others, of course.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go over some trades there, Mark and Mark.
Yeah, let's talk about some trades here. So we had two to discuss this week, and it was all with NAO talent. NAO talent,
That's what we are.
loosely use that term.
Huh?
I would use that term loosely.
Yeah. Well, that's why the air quotes, talent. The talent from the show, we all traded with each other here. The first one was a pretty simple one. I traded with Mike. I got Boston Scott. I gave him Brian Hill. For one, Goofy gave me shit about it. Jokingly, but yeah, he said, "Hey, no fair. It's a starter for a backup. That's no fair." I told him, it's Boston Scott. He's not a starter. He's a hole plugger, But I lost Miles Sanders and was down to one running back, and so we tried to do a 3-way trade to get Pollard to Mike and Brian Hill to the Gurley owner, and then Boston Scott to me, but that was rejected. So me and Mike just did Boston Scott, Brian Hill. I started out offering him a 3rd rounder, and he decided to go for Brian Hill. So, Mike, any comments on that trade?
I mean, this week it looked like I lost pretty bad, but because I would have won. Well, I would have not won the Miyagi, I guess, if I had started Brian Hill. But really, it was just kind of like I knew what I had behind the Boston Scott door, and you offered me to open up another door, so I'm taking the odds on that one. And I think, like you said, Boston Scott's a hole plug, and Brian Hill's pretty talented. It's just backup running backs, really. So
Right.
I'll just see what I got in that one now.
Not a big deal, just moving them from roster to roster. Ian, what's your opinion on that trade as an outsider?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair trade on the surface. Obviously, you were more desperate, so it benefited you in the short term. I think that Hill maybe has a quicker route to relevance as far as being a starter. Obviously, Gurley is older than Sanders is, and he has a much worse injury history, or at least a more serious injury history. Sanders has his occasional ones, obviously, is why you needed Scott. But I think in the short term, in the long term, it's a fair trade. In the short term, you benefited.
Mm-hmm.
But like Mike said, I don't think it would have made a whole lot of difference to his week anyways, having Scott. So
Right. Yeah. Now he left a bad taste in people's mouth last year because we thought it was wheels up for him, but he kind of faltered in that. But then, if you paid attention, he came back strong at the end of the season, had some decent numbers, and he's been looking good this year. So I think maybe the stage was just a little too big for him at the time, but he might be better going down the line here.
We've surpassed Ito Smith anyway.
Yeah.
That's the main guy backing up Gurley.
Yeah, he's the clear 2, and he's already getting work. So I think he's next man up for sure. So on a decent offensive, the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
So the other trade was with me and Sean. So I'm playing Goofy, and I just needed to plug holes big time. So I had 2 first rounders there, and I was like, I got to go get somebody just to put in the lineup. for this week, if nothing else. So I was offering Sean a first, and we were talking about DJ Chark to start, but value was a little bit high on that. He and I kind of agreed on where we would value that first rounder. So I gave him I offered a first rounder for Deontay Johnson. He wanted to shore up some more picks since he really didn't have a lot. So he was looking for a third. So that's when we brought in Jalen Guyton. So it was a first rounder, which was Sean's original pick, and a third rounder, which was Mike's pick for Deontay Johnson, Jalen Guyton. I was able to put Deontay in there, and he probably helped me win the week. Guyton is a guy that, he was finished up with North Texas, but he started out with Notre Dame. Great athlete, undrafted free agent, somebody that was on my radar last year, but really didn't do much but stay on the practice squad. But this year he's making some noise, so I took a flyer on him. So, Sean, you got any comments about our trade there?
Well, the thing about Pittsburgh is no one really knows who's going to be the wide receiver one week in, week out, because Big Ben, he can throw the ball to anybody and make them look like Juju was when AB was there. So I like Deontay Johnson. I mean, I drafted him. He's a good guy. I think if he was in any other offense where it was a clear-cut one, clear-cut two, he would be more value. But any week that I would play him, it was either feast or famine with him. So I thought maybe trading him at the high value when you need him and kind of hold you over the barrel to get the first-round pick and get a third too adds depth later. And maybe in the first round go after a running back, which is going to be in low supply, I'm sure.
Yeah. Ian, impartial observer here. What do you think about that trade?
Or not so impartial, I guess. It depends on your opinion. But no, again, I think both trades had benefited both teams. So this one, I think, again, benefited you short term. Mark, you could definitely see you were going after the win this week, and the moves you made paid off big ways. So I think and I like Guyton. Actually think he's going to be – I think he goes past Mike Williams really soon as far as in the number two.
He did this week already, so.
Yeah, when I picked him up off the wire, I thought he would be somebody that could maybe later on the season, early next season, be real good.
Yeah, I think he's proven to be a good asset, and the way Herbert's playing, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. And as we know, Deontay Johnson is a beast. He kind of is very similar to AB in the way that he plays football a lot of moves after the catch. So it's a good move for you. And like you said, Sean didn't have many picks, and he's not out of it yet this season. But it's smart to kind of shore up the future a little bit. So I like the move for him as well. Especially if he can get a running back in the mid to late rounds of, in the first round. So yeah, good trade both sides.
I like that you said you compared him to AB, because I made that comparison to somebody else this week, and that makes me feel better that because that's high praise for a second year guy. But I'm looking at his size is similar, very good route runner. So he's got some similarities, and you can see that Big Ben's already seeing that and targeting him quite a bit.
Yeah. He does a lot of his work after the catch as well, which was always AB's MO, and a lot of these exciting guys coming out the last few years have been doing the same thing. Guys like AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, they're more after the catch. Tyreek Hill even. It's nice. It's exciting to see, and those are the guys you want to feature if you're a quarterback, because it's it's fun to watch. So yeah, I like the trade. Congrats to all four or three of you. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we're going to move on to matchups. Let's see who I got here to start out. I've got the underdogs versus the Carsonists. So my thoughts on this one is it looks like a pretty close matchup. That's why I picked this one. This is one of the closer matchups. High scoring looks like, and closer matchups. Both got question marks. Sean, you got Carson with the game time decision. Mixon's not practicing for the underdogs. Underdogs got James Robinson on bye. They got Antonio Gibson on bye. So they're 3 running backs right there that they're kind of hurting a little bit trying to figure that one out. Sean, you got Justin Jefferson back, but you got Deshaun Watson on bye. So I think you got Baker Mayfield in there right now. What could be the deciding factor here is Dez Bryant. You know, the underdogs went out and picked up Dez Bryant. So I'm really excited to see if my old boy Dez gets out there and gets a touchdown or not. Sean, what can you tell us about your matchup coming up here?
I think the Dez Bryant comment is dead on. I think if Dez Bryant gets up on there and he starts, I think I don't have a chance. You know what I mean? But for real, I think if Chris Carson is down, I think I like the chances of it being a CEH, 25 carries a game, another 160 yards again. They're playing the Jets. I mean, you're going to put up 10 points and you're going to beat the Jets. Like we were talking before the show, I don't think Kansas City is going to even leave second gear against the Jets this week. I think Baker Mayfield will be average at best. I don't think he's going to throw another 5 touchdown day, but I really do think that Justin Jefferson is going to come out and do really well again.
Yeah, he's like the highest graded wide receiver for PFF of all of the wide receivers. That's pretty amazing.
Quite a lot, actually. I saw it today.
Yeah. He's having an amazing season. Yeah, and we talked about that. It seems like the team's playing the Jets. So you think they're going to smash, but it's pretty average because it seems like they don't really have to try too hard to beat them. So yeah, you could be right there that that could be a letdown. Hopefully they just let him run the ball and you get a lot of points. You know.
And I mean, it's not like Stephon Diggs isn't going to get like 40 points. Look who he's playing.
Yeah. Do you have some, Ian?
There's talk of Le'Veon Bell getting the main snaps this week, though, just because, just to stick it to Adam Gase. Yeah. But
I think everybody wants to see that. Yeah, everybody wants to see that.
I'd almost be okay with that.
Yeah.
If CEH gets like 10 to 15 points, if Bell wants to hit the touchdown 2 or 3 times, I'm okay.
I mean, 10 quality touches, CEH can get you a good point total anyway, and then just let Le'Veon just keep on running it down the throats, you know.
I'm interested to see what Baker does without Odell Beckham from the start, because a lot of people think that Baker's actually better without Beckham, and I mean, I don't think he's 5 touchdowns a game, but there's a lot of talk of him forcing balls to Beckham, so we'll see what happens.
What do you think about that one, Ian? Them being better without Odell?
I think any team is better without personality like that, especially a team like Cleveland that don't have the management, as far as the coaches are concerned, to kind of keep those guys in check. It's a distraction, and Baker's bad enough. I mean, you saw the mess was Pittsburgh a few years ago with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and Big Ben, and it was a mess. You have all that talent but no production because they're all playing for themselves. So I think that, first of all, they're a run-first team, and the rest of the receivers, Landry's a great professional, and he just wants to play football. I think it'll help him in a big way, being the feature receiver, and he's okay not getting all the targets. He's not going to put up a fuss, and yeah, I think it's a benefit. I know it's a shame because I like Odell as a player, but as a personality, I think he's a negative for the teams he plays for.
And it did seem like they were just trying to force him the ball, and it just wasn't working. Chemistry wasn't there,
Right, and what happened when he went out? Baker spread it around a little bit. They didn't tear Cincinnati apart, but they found holes, and that's what you want. You want to be able to be unpredictable. So
yeah.
I'm sure the stats are out there on Baker with and without Beckham. It'd be kind of interesting to see what they really are.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. All right, our next matchup was
breaking news. Breaking news. This just in. Marky Mark's doing things behind the scenes over here, doing trades. I think we have another trade to talk about there, Marky Mark, trying to slip one in past us here.
Looks like he's trying to help out your opposition this week in case Mixon goes down.
Yep.
Wow.
You gotta love it.
Well, Ian, give us your thoughts on that trade, Ian.
I mean, I don't know how much I have a feeling on Tyler Johnson, but I mean that offense I'm trying to avoid with like the plague. But at least in the short term, are you playing everything in the short term? Just
Playing what?
well, I guess in the short term he's probably got some value because Evans is banged up and Godwin is going to be out this week and AB's not playing, so he probably has some value in week 8. But outside of that, I'm not sure where he falls, Tyler Johnson. But I think you gave up a good piece to get him. So obviously you see some value in him. I mean, LaMichael Pirine, you wouldn't trade him to me. You wanted the world for Pirine when I was talking to you. So
I wanted the world prepared. So what was your offer for P. Ryan? Do you mind sharing that, or
I can't
you don't
remember.
have to? But if you want to share it, what was your offer?
I can't remember now, to be honest. It's been a while.
Oh,
Well, I remember if you want me to tell it.
Yeah, you go ahead.
collective memory. It's all right.
So-
Ian. Y'all know.
so
Y'all
this-
know.
Before I was talking about Boston Scott, I was talking about Mike Davis, and I tried to get Mike Davis, and
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
so you offered Mike Davis and a 4th rounder from you for Preston Williams, LaMichael Pirine, the underdog 2nd round pick, and my 5th round pick.
Yeah.
That was the offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like that offer. No, I even on the calculator, it didn't seem fair to me, and I thought it
don't
seemed
go
like
at
you're trying to
Ian's
sneak in P Ryan there on me,
Well, I'm a
Uh,
Gator, so I got a heart for Pirine.
Yeah, being a Gator fan. So
Yeah.
now my trade with them was really, they're looking for somebody. So I got that. What did I get out of it? The 2nd rounder, was it? 3rd rounder. I got Dylan's 3rd rounder, and I got Tyler Johnson. So yeah, Tyler, I'm not looking at like I'm going to be playing him anytime soon, but just a high upside guy. Probably would have been drafted higher. I can't remember all the reasons, but I know that they were down on him. A lot of the GMs and teams were down on him for some reason. He just kind of fell, but he's got a lot of talent and already showed some flashes this year. So he's really a flyer. That pick was good for me, and he took Ty Johnson and LaMichael Pirine as the Jets backfield. So I told him to go get Gore, and they'd had that Jets backfield sewed up. That's what everybody wants to be. But yeah, Michael's been looking pretty good. I actually traded him in both dynasty leagues, just kind of getting people that were interested in needing help, and I got decent pieces out of it on my side. So I actually got Cam Akers in the other dynasty with a Pirine deal. So kind of betting on him for the future. So
Yeah, he looks good, and I think it'll be better when Gase finally gets fired. But
exactly. All right, well, let's get back to the matchups. That was fun. Little live trade here. So 2 at a time. Ian, you going up against defenses wins championships, and we talked about Aaron kind of on the downward trend. He really needs a win, but it's not looking good as far as the projection is concerned and his injury. So any thoughts on your matchup this week?
yeah, I almost feel bad, because he's a nice guy. So I don't like to put a hurting on a nice guy. I mean, it's different when it's Sean, but he's been absolutely ravaged by injuries and all big players too. So, I mean, I don't even know if he has enough room on his IR. He has so many bad injuries. So I think next year he still has a good roster. I think next year might be a better run for him, but I think it's going to be, I'm not stressed about it this week. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it seems like he needs to get some guys back or make a trade or something. And I don't know what's going through his mind, but he's had a rough go of it here lately. He was looking good a couple weeks back.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, next matchup is gonna be mine. I'm going up against the Skippy Dogs. The Skippy Dogs, I told you, man, he won 3 in a row, kind of sneaky getting his way up there. What is he in 5th place now? I think, right, Mike? So
Yeah.
So he's worked his way up the standings a little bit after starting out 1-3, and it's a tough week for me because I got Kyler's on bye, Terry McLaurin is on bye. I've got Galladay and Hawkinson are going up against Indy this week, which is not a favorable matchup. He's got Lamar Jackson and Adam Thielen back, and a great juicy matchup with Henry versus Cincinnati this week. So yeah, it's looking pretty bleak for me. I had a great win last week, good point total, but yeah, I'm a little concerned about mine. You guys got any thoughts on that one at all?
Well, the thing about Adam Thielen is like, even if Justin Jefferson has a big day, Adam Thielen's going to have a big day too. It doesn't matter who gets the ball. They're both going to see 10 targets. And Cook, I mean, he's still going to run for 110 yards. I don't even know why Minnesota is losing all these games. It's probably because their defense can't stop cold right now.
Yeah,
and
that's
they have
it.
to score 50 points. But
Yeah.
I like having anybody on Minnesota right now because they're going to throw it. And Cook, he's good for, 15 to 17 points a game pretty much, isn't he, Ian?
Yeah, and I think they said he's active here recently. The news came
Yeah.
through, so
He is active, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. He's going for 4 in a row. Skippy is. I'd love to stop that streak, but it's going to be a tough one for me. I'm not going to lie. So glad I got all those points in that win last week. I might need them later on in the season. So next we got Frank's Beauties going up against the Silly Biscuits. So just a couple notes on this. Josh has had a lot of injuries. His Cowboys receivers are losing value with the quarterback situation there. He's just had some underachievers overall. Maybe he gets Tevin Coleman back this week, which could be a bump in the flex spot. But Mike, you've had a pretty, like you said, you were averaging a lot of points there and doing pretty well. What do you think about that matchup this week against Josh?
Yeah, I'm not totally in love with what's going on with my team right now, but we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm going to be up at the 140s anymore. I think I kind of agree with what you were saying about Beckham, but I mean, he wasn't terribly consistent, but losing a guy like that's going to be tough. And in the market for a receiver, for anybody listening. But
yeah, and that Thomas trade hasn't worked out. He got another injury there, and hasn't been back in the lineup. That one's been hurting a little bit too.
Yeah, they said 1 to 2 weeks, but I guess it's Wednesday anyway. Didn't practice today, but yeah, that would sure be nice. I put him in every Wednesday morning, just hoping for the best, and then Sunday morning I end up taking him out and cry a little bit.
Maybe this week you don't put him in and
Oh, he's already in.
change the juju. Yeah, next week. Try that next week.
Maybe this week is Claypool's week. Maybe it's his turn on the depth chart to get 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that would be
I
nice.
just saw an announcement that Deontay Johnson's held out practice this week with a toe injury, so not play, which would help Claypool.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Because yeah, he was good. He was good for me last week. At least he went out late in the game. But toe injuries are so tricky, man.
Yeah.
Which is something he's been dealing little nagging injuries all year. So
Yeah. Now Claypool could have a bump this week, so maybe that'll help you out there, Mike.
It'd be nice. I got a lot of rookie receivers in right now, so I have Ruggs in. So
Not what you want to count on normally, right? Well, our last matchup is Goofy Jace, who is still leading us in the standings, going up against the real Slim Brady, who got his second win. So I see that Dylan lost Godwin this week, which was kind of weird, kind of out of the blue. Seems like he lost Godwin.
he break his finger or something like that.
Yeah, crazy, huh? Just like, oh yeah, by the way, Godwin's out, and he just got back in there, He does have some good matchups. He's got Ronald Jones going against the Giants. He's got Gurley against Carolina, who's probably last in rush defense right now. And he's got Robbie Anderson going up against Atlanta. He's got some good matchups there. He's going to have to make a few moves in the roster, but he might be able to give Goofy a little something. But right now, with Dylan not having his roster set, it's showing 140 for Goofy to 85 for Dylan. So what do you guys think about that one?
Mine says 124. I don't know if it's
mine
He
says
must have changed it
124.
recently.
Oh, he must have. Okay. He real recently, because I was doing this prep right before we got on around 6:00 for our pre-show. So 124 to 140. No, that's good. Okay. Any thoughts there?
I had a question for the group. It might be an interesting question with Ian being on the show, him pretty much holding down half of the Seattle Seahawks passing game. Is there anybody in this passing game that is not like able to at least be a flex spot? Have they actually let Russell Wilson cook?
Well, he's throwing more than they throw the ball more than any other team in the league right now. So yeah,
More than my man, the myth, the legend, Joe Burrow?
yeah, they're throwing it on. I think it's on percentage of snaps. So they may have thrown more times in Cincinnati, but the percentage of throw to pass, they went from I think 31st or 30th last year to their first this year. Well, they were going into last week. So
Well, I guess it's pretty easy with all those weapons to throw to.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No, there's even been a lot of talk about how Carson, it's not all the rushing this year. He's actually been more involved in the receiving game.
Yeah.
So he's kind of keeping pace with what he did last year, but it's not all about the ground game.
Yeah, which you'd hope would keep him healthier. He's had a couple of little injuries, but you'd hope that'll keep him in the game longer because those 25, 30 carries a game, it's going to weigh on you at the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Goofy will come back after his 2 losses, and he won't lose 3 in a row. But glad to see that Dylan made a few changes. Maybe he'll give him a little run for his money there.
Yeah.
Well, I think. Go ahead.
That's our recap for Week 8. I want to say thank you to the co-hosts, Mike Deasy, Marky Mark. Thanks for Ian coming in.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
And, just one thing, Ian. You suck.